going on, man? Charlie in the box. Check it out. Look at what I got in my box today is October the 2nd. That tea party that I said I was going to attend on that video called The Call, I'm here. Today's my anniversary, and I had a soccer game this morning. But I know it's really important that we as Americans come to these events. So this is what happened, and this is what I saw.
The public school system is out of control in the inner cities. It's not about education. It's not about loving your country. It's about how bad this country is. They're teaching our boys and girls how to have sex out of wedlock, how to have boys and boys together, girls and girls, because the government is running the school. They're dumbing down, and not just black Americans, but mostly blacks, because the parents are not there to protect them. And it wasn't like this prior to the civil rights movement. There was an uprightness that black people had, a self-respect for one another, and most of them have lost that now because the government took over. And I understand it, because I have to tell you, about 21 years ago, I went to God because I wanted to understand my situation in life. I was listening to Louis Farrakhan and Jesse Jackson and others, and they said, well, you can't make it because the white man trying to hold you back. And I became, for the first time in my life, when moving to Los Angeles, I became very angry at white Americans because I believed a lie. And whenever you believe a lie, whoever caused you to believe that lie also control you. And so whenever Jackson and others wanted to control us, when they wanted more power and wealth, they would just say, this is a race issue. Look at what white folks are trying to do. And white people, because they are afraid of that one word called racism, they will head for the hills, and black Americans would go into a trance and do whatever Jackson and others want them to do. But I started to question things, and I thought to myself, if white folks are holding me down, why is it that they're not holding Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all those guys down? They're doing whatever they want to do. And I realized that they had taken this and made us angry, because when you're angry, the friend looked like the enemy, and the enemy looked like a friend to you. And I'll give you a quick example of that. Anybody ever been married before? Anybody been married? I used to date a lot. And when I would first meet a young lady, I would go, wow, thank you, God, for this woman. This is a good woman. This is a gift from God, right? But the next day, when her attitude changed, I would get mad, and I would wonder to myself, how in the world did I end up with this one? It was the same woman, but because I was angry, she looked differently to me. You know what I'm talking about? That's why God said you got to overcome anger, because when you're angry, the truth look like the lie, and the lie look like the truth to you. So black Americans, not all, but most of them are angry. So I asked God to forgive me for my anger, and He did. He took away my anger and allowed me to see that the people I trusted the most were the ones who were controlling me. It had nothing to do with white racism at all. And I have to tell you that for the most part, not all, but most black Americans today are suffering not because of racism, but the lack of moral character. It's not color, but it's the lack of character. That's what Dr. King talked about. For 5 years, my organization, Bond, held a National Day of Repudiation of Jesse Jackson in front of his Rainbow Push office, LA, on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, because we wanted to show the contrast between Dr. King's dream and Jesse Jackson's nightmare. Dr. King said that one day black Americans would be judged by the contents of character and not color. But Jackson's nightmare is that most of them lack character, and their focus is on the color instead of the character. Dr. King said that one day we will become one nation under God. But because of Jackson's nightmare, we are more divided today as a race than any other time in history. And so we exposed this man until finally some of the black folks have started to catch on to what Jackson is about. I do want to say that after God forgave me, I was, prior to that, I was a liberal Democrat, and I didn't care whatever you wanted to do was fine with me. But when God changed, I went back to God once He took away my anger and allowed me to see. And I said to Him, you know, I have one more favor from you, God. And He like, okay, what is it? I said, I was a liberal Democrat. Will you forgive me? And he said yes. And I became a conservative Republican. And I am a conservative Republican today.
Yeah, I heard
that. I must admit, it is easier to be a member of the KKK than it is to be a black Republican in the black community. You absolutely hate it. But I understand it. I understand that they've been brainwashed, dumbed down, and demoralized, and that they cannot see what's going on.
That's how
that's how their leaders want them. They don't want them free, because you cannot control a free moral people. You have to demoralize them in order to control them, and that's why they keep them in that state of mind. Once I woke up, long story short, I started an organization called Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny, and we celebrated 20 years this year. We're going to have a big event at the Radisson Hotel on the 16th of this month. And we have been helping young men. We have a home for young men from around the country, bring them in. We show them how to overcome their anger, finish school, get married before having children out of wedlock, and judge people based on character and not color. We have an after-school program where we're doing the same thing. And I'm proud to tell you that we've done this for 20 years without one penny from the government. No money from the government. It's people like you helping us to help others. I believe, because of the way I grew up, I believe the less government in your life, the better off you are.
Damn
the better
true.
off you are. And I have to tell you, this has not been easy, but it's been fun. When you love what's right with all your heart, soul, and might, you're willing to stand alone for that. God is with you, and when one door closes, another will open. I've been called every name in the book, and then some. I've been called Uncle Tom, sellout, you hate your mama, you hate your color, you hate this. But I don't care what they call me. As a matter of fact, I've been called nigger so much by black people. You ever heard that word? Yeah. White people are afraid of that word, huh? White people are like, oh, don't say that. And black people, that's nigger, nigger, please. I want to just tell you, I'm not encouraging you to say it, but I want you to know that that word doesn't mean a thing to black folks. It's just another way of controlling white Americans. Because if it meant anything to them, they would stop using the word and it will fade away. But it's just another way of controlling. That's all that it is. This is why God said, you got to overcome fear. You got to overcome fear with love and stand up for what is right. I've been called that word so much by black Americans. I told my staff recently, you know, I think I'll change my middle name from Jesse Lee to Jesse Nigger. Because what they don't understand, I love what's right, so you can call me whatever you want. I'm not intimidated by that. I realize that our battle is a battle between good and evil, right versus wrong. It's not a battle between blacks and whites or whites against black, men against women. It's right versus wrong. And the liberals, especially Obama and his administration and others, they are a godless people. They don't have God on their side. And so whenever they want to get power from you, they try to intimidate you. If they can call you names and get you angry, they can control you. Or if they can say good things to you to make you feel good, they can control you. That's why God said we have to lay down a life in order to get a life. So we got to lay down the ego so we can be guided by what is right rather than what we feel. That's how we built this great nation. When Obama ran for president, during the presidential primaries, and we discovered that he was a member of Jeremiah Wright Jr. Church. Remember that? And when asked about it, Obama denied it. He denied that he knew that Jeremiah Wright Jr. spoke racism from the pulpit. And while at the same time, he said that Jeremiah Wright was like an uncle to him. He baptized he and Michelle. Married he and Michelle, baptized their children. But he didn't know that Jeremiah Wright Jr. was a racist. And I said to white Americans right then and there, do not vote for this guy. He is a liar. And you cannot trust a liar. But white Americans voted for him because they thought that if they gave black people a black president, that somehow or another black Americans are going to realize that it's not white racism that's holding them down. But it did not work, because you can't change black America's heart by giving them a black president, you have to tell them the truth, and it's the truth that brings on the change. You can't give them a president thinking that that's going to work. When President Bush was in office, 35% of black Americans thought that America was a racist society. When President Obama got in, over 50% think that America is a racist society. So it went up rather than going down. And the reason for that is that we have not dealt with the racism in the hearts and minds of black Americans. And that's what we got to do, and we can only do it with truth. Barack Obama is the worst thing that has ever happened to America. He is a black liberation theology kind of a person. He believes in the redistribution of wealth. He hates white Americans. He hates Israel. He hates the values of this country. Barack Obama is Louis Farrakhan. He is Jesse Jackson. He is the NAACP. He is the Congressional Black Caucus. He is the average black preacher, all wrapped up in one. That's what we have. We have an evil man at the head of the greatest country in the world. And I just want to encourage you that you got to overcome your fear. Tell the truth, tell the truth, tell the truth. And when you tell the truth, and to white folks, I want you to tell black people the truth. Get over your fear. You can always tell the truth and just run. You don't have to hang around. Just take off, because the truth is of God. And when you tell the truth, don't overreact to the people who are a person who is overreacting to that truth. Let them deal with it. You go your way. But this is the greatest country in the world. Everybody and their mama trying to come here. We can't even keep the illegals out. And yet, we allow a godless man like Barack Obama and this administration destroy the greatest nation in the world. In closing, I want to tell you that God is giving us another chance come November. He's good. He's giving us another chance. And they're trying to call us racist. They're calling the Tea Party movement racist. You have the NAACP saying that they're going to keep an eye on the Tea Party movement. Never mind what they think. Never mind what they do. You do what's right. You speak up. And there is nothing on earth that can stop you. And I'm a living witness to that. We have been doing this for 20 years. It's about country. It's about God. It's about lower taxes. It's about Constitution. It never has been about color. And I'm sad to report you, because of the lack of values in the black community, you had 96% of black Americans voted for Barack Obama. That included the black preachers, knowing that this guy supports abortion on demand, knowing that he supports same-sex marriage, knowing that he's a racist, knowing that he's a liar. They still support him. And even today, 90% of them are still supporting him, knowing what he's all about. And I always tell them, and 85% of them say that they're Christians. And I tell them all the time, there is no way on earth or in heaven that you could be a Christian and support the liberal Democratic Party. The platform is anti-God, and men and women of God cannot support that. You cannot ride two horses at the same time. You either love good and hate evil, or hate evil and love good. You can't support both. And so it's about the lack of character, nothing to do with race. So I want to just encourage you to be strong and be honest and tell the truth. And when they get mad at you, just look at them like you're looking at a movie. Don't take it personally. They're just rejecting good. I've been able to do this for 20 years now, and I'm better for it because I'm not bitter. I love what's right with all my heart, soul, and might. I've adopted 5 children for my nonprofit, 4 girls and a boy. They're all adults now, doing very well, getting married, loving their country. It's about the character. And I just want to say, God bless you for what you're doing. We are not going to give up. This is the greatest. Oh yeah, one quick thing. Support Arizona. Go to Arizona. Support Arizona. Because